It's what the customer wants.
What do they say?
I think the companies that I work with are service-driven companies. You know, they're there to please and serve the customers. And so and they all know. I mean, the customer is the final decision maker. Right. You know, some people say, "Oh, you own your own business. You don't. You
listen to anybody.
You get to do whatever you want." No,
that's not true.
I do what my customers want.
Right.
You know,
right.
They're the boss. Is that, oh, you're your own boss? Well, really, my customers are the boss.
Right. Without them, I wouldn't have a job.
Yeah, I have many bosses.
Right. Still, yeah, that's kind of what I was curious about, was from the aspect of being an executive producer / kind of a general contractor, as you compared earlier. It's like other people tell you what they want, and it's your job just to go out and get it done the best you can. I'm sure sometimes there's probably things that they ask for. It's just like, I don't know, like anti-gravity machine or something. They probably don't actually ask for that, but that kind of idea of like, well, this is what I can provide. So do people ever come up to you and ask you for like kind of out there things, and then you just do your best, and maybe it even helps evolve your company some, like they ask for something, you're like, I don't know if I can do that, but let's find out if I can.
Yeah, I mean, the answer is always yes.
Yeah, you know, that's fair.
I think there's just a cost for everything. I mean,
yeah.
And we get asked to do some creative things, you know, and sometimes there's things that we have to really, you know, strive for solutions and look for creative solutions. Yeah. You know, like anybody's, you know, project, there's always a budget, and you have to work within the budget. Right. And, you know, there's always ways of carefully communicating that. Say, well, we can do what you want, and it's this. Now, if you want to do it really, really well, here's an additional cost if you're willing to do that. And sometimes, especially as you get closer to the project and the time of it actually happened, they're willing to spend the money. At first, they're like really tight, and then they find money. We always like to say, especially in video production, not as much event, because events take longer to plan. And many people have heard this, you know, you can have it, you know, there's good, there's fast, and there's cheap. You can have three. Or there's three, you pick two.
The last two are my diet right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Good, fast, and cheap. And so you can pick two. I mean, you can you can have it good and cheap, but you're not going to get it fast. You can have it cheap and, you know, and good, but, you know,
won't get it very fast.
You're not going to get it very fast. So it all works together.
Right. That makes sense. I like that phrase. I might use that sometime. That's what we told Jacqueline for dinner. Do you want it good, fast, or cheap?
Pick two.
She won't like that. That's all right. All right. So you work from home, which is something that I aspire to do as well, because I like the whole commuting thing. Like the more time I get to spend with my family, or the more time that I don't have to be driving, wasting my time, essentially.
Sure.
I feel like adds a lot of value in my life. How do you manage like time with your family and time around like at doing work? Because I know, especially working in your garage and your house is right there and your wife's in there, I know there's probably a preference to just be like, I could just go inside and hang out with my wife, or I could go play with my kids. And I feel like that's like that time management thing where you just know you have to go do work. So how do you manage that?
I think I had enough years before I started doing this in my career, I guess, about 15, 16 years, where I was used to just getting up and going to work every day and working, you know, 9-10 hours a day. Right. And that was just part of
life.
I mean, that's just what you do. I mean, you get up and you go to work. And I didn't have, especially when I got into the corporate side, the network TV side, it was, you've got a shift, you know, an 8-hour shift. Yeah. You get into the corporate side, it's like you just work till the job's done. You know, it's project based. Right. I mean, yeah, we had 8 to 5 hours, but if I needed to work till 10 o'clock at night, if I needed to travel over a weekend or whatever, you did what the job required. And so that work ethic was kind of instilled in me, just to, you do what's required. Our jobs are real. My job is really project based. Okay. So you just have, you know, you've got a time, you've got a budget, you've got to work within all those things to accomplish that. So bringing that home, it was not a big deal because, you know,
it was like engrafted in.
I've got projects. Now I think there are plenty of people that are just more free spirits and loose, and you know, they may just, you know, I don't want to go to work till 10 or 11 today. I don't do that. I mean, I do keep pretty solid hours. You know, I'm here normally at a specific time, by 9 in the morning. I work till 5 or 6 in the evening. But the beauty is I can be very flexible. I can take time off in my day to do an interview with Turner.
And I appreciate that.
and so and I don't have anybody saying, "Hey, you're off the clock." It's,
somebody said that outside.
and so there's that flexibility, which has been the most beautiful thing about working for yourself and working certainly at home. Is I can take time off to do some ministry work. To like we worked at the school this morning. Do things like that. I don't have to get approval from anybody. I just do it. You know, if I want to take the rest of the day off today, as long as I don't have an impending deadline, you know, I can do that and just enjoy that, or take an extra week off this summer to do whatever I want. There's that flexibility. You don't get paid necessarily,
That's true.
but it's all income generated per project. So it's been a real joy. It was more challenging when we had the 4 kids, raising them at home, especially when they were all being homeschooled at home. That was a little more challenging. Now, having my setup here where I'm a little ways away from the actual house, I'm not just in the next room.
Right, you're not just in the living room working.
I've noticed there have been days, like if I've been sick or something and I've been up at the house and I try to work up there, it can be a little more challenging because I'm there. It's like, oh, Jeff, could you come
You can
do
hear
this?
everything.
It's like, it works better me being out of the house for sure.
I can imagine. Yeah, because I feel like, and that's something just self-discipline period is something I have to practice often. Because it's like, if I don't practice it, I'm like a totally free guy. I'm just like, I'll just go play tennis for the rest of the day. Or I'll go basketball, and then it gets to be like 11 o'clock at night. I'm like, I should probably do some work finally. And so that was part of like, and that's not necessarily a question towards your business, but I think it's more of a question towards entrepreneurship as a whole. It's like, because the hip thing right now is to be an entrepreneur, to own your own company, be a freelance guy. But I think so many people my age, and I'm totally generalizing, but have that issue of like they haven't had the years of experience, and so they haven't had that built into them to work, or they have the idea that they need to work from 7 to 7. They just need to overwork, and I feel like there's that middle ground where it's like, yeah, you do need to go to work, but you also need to take some time. Like you need to be open to go and spend time with your family, or you just need to work as much as you need to. Don't overwork for the sake of looking like you're working.
It is both. It's the discipline to have some set hours and to be in the office at a certain time, and to have those hours where it's just work time. But then there's the discipline of cutting it off. Especially in our world today, you're always connected. You've always got your phone, you've always got your computer in your body, whatever. You've got your watch. You're just connected all the time. You have to learn how to disconnect. You have to be able to shut it down and say, I'm off work. I work with people, as we've talked about, all over the world. I've got customers all over the world. I've got vendors all over the world. I've got people in different time zones. I've got a woman right now in Australia trying to set up a conference call with me. I've got a customer in London that I was dealing with this morning, and those are at opposite times. So she's 5 hours ahead of me. She's 13 hours ahead of me, and it's kind of crazy sometimes. And there are times you have to do things.
It's physically not possible for you.
You have to do a conference call at 8 in the evening. It doesn't happen often, and most people are very aware of that, and they don't schedule calls that it's 5 in the morning for me. Occasionally it does happen, but it doesn't happen too often. But you do have to have the discipline to shut it down.
I think that's something that I think goes unsaid a lot. Is you're expected to work yourself to death almost as an entrepreneur. It's like, I just feel like there's got to be a line for life. Like life has to cut it at some point. You have to resume it, and not take that home. Like even earlier you were saying with your wife, you don't like talking business. You cannot be talking business so much just because it can consume you. And so being able to cut that off and not go home and talk about business. I think if you're going home and talking about your work more and more and more, it kind of ruins the family time, because it becomes it just becomes a venting session somewhat. All right, so like 2 more questions for you. Sorry, this is going longer than we expected. So do you keep current business practices and trends, or do you alter how you do the business as you learn about new things? So like, do you kind of keep up with things, or like as you learn about new things, do you alter how you function your business? I mean, especially in a media business, I feel like trends probably change and technology has clearly changed. So how has that affected you, and have you been able to like easily keep up, or do you follow some sort of like blog or something that posts the newest technology, or I actually don't totally know what I'm talking about for you. You say whatever feels best.
Certainly technology, as you said, does change.
Okay.
It is changing daily. And so people look to me for technology solutions a lot of times. And so, yeah, I do have to kind of stay up to date with that. Of course, I rely on those people I hire
to know the experts.
Bringing in the right equipment and the latest, and to offer me, suggestions and solutions for doing things differently. And so I do stay up with that. I have to. People do look to us for that. We're not really like a high tech company, but at the end, we're putting out a high tech product normally. And so, but we also are a creative company, so people come to us for creative solutions, and so we're always charged with creativity and coming up with new ideas and ways to communicate in new and fresh ways. So yeah, I'm always looking for things like that. As far as business practices, those pretty much stay the same. I mean, there are some new methods and ways, but I run a very simple small business, and so there are companies that are more on the lookout for that kind of thing, business models and practices. I don't give a whole lot of attention to that, other than just trying to improve, myself and ways I manage people.
And I'm sure as you do more jobs, you gain more knowledge, and it kind of naturally makes you smoother with the job and everything too. So, but I guess, probably